Hey, everybody. Wow, it is so good to be home. I'm from Canada. I just immigrated to the States. I celebrated Thanksgiving in the States. If you're Canadian and you celebrate Thanksgiving in the States, it's wild because you spend most of the meal answering the question, do you have Thanksgiving in Canada? After a while, it comes across as a little condescending, like, do you have anything to be thankful for in Canada? Which I wasn't gonna say anything, but in my head, I couldn't help but think, free healthcare, gun control. I had an American friend ask me if we celebrated the 4th of July in Canada. I didn't even know how to respond. I was just like, does your family celebrate my nephew's birthday? Is that? I'm extremely dyslexic, and the worst part about dyslexia is you don't see it coming, you know? Like, I did very well in kindergarten. Then I arrived in the 1st grade, and everyone started reading, and I was just like, meh, I'm gonna stare at the window for like a decade or whatever, but you guys... 6, I found out I wasn't gonna learn how to read at 6. I was young. To get bad news about the future? That'd be like if you pulled a kid aside and said, hey, there's a good chance you're gonna be a degenerate gambler. He's like, what are the odds? Third grade was the worst because the teacher was old and she learned to teach before dyslexia was invented. She didn't think it was a thing. She thought it was something that people just made up to get attention, you know? Like a gluten allergy. She told my parents I was dumb. My dad overcompensated. He's like, you're probably smarter than her. That's irresponsible parenting. Creating a child that's illiterate and overconfident. Teacher's like, this is how you spell Antarctica. I'm like, yeah, that's not how I spell it. I'm gonna be honest, sweetheart, I don't even recognize some of those letters. She was a miss. When I was a kid, if you were a teacher, single and female, they called you miss. That's a lot of information to unload on a child. I'm struggling with a disability. I'm worried about her dating problems. I think it's sexist too, because if you were a male teacher and you were single, they wouldn't call you anything different, right? I mean, the kids would speculate you were gay, which I hope that wouldn't happen anymore. I hope now you could just be like an openly gay educator. There'd be no stereotypes. You'd just be treated like a regular drama teacher. Once, the mean miss, she had me stand up in front of the whole class. And she's like, why don't you tell everybody how you're gonna survive as an adult if you can't read? I had this crazy just moment of clarity. I was just honest. I was like, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be like eating dinner by yourself every night, miss. After high school, all my friends went to college and I became a model. People don't believe me, and then I remind them there used to be a thing called heroin chic. And they're like, oh. I remember hearing about heroin chic. They're like, we want guys that look like they do drugs. I'm like, look like you do drugs. I'm gonna do you one better. I used to do acid. I regret it so much. So I realized someday I'm gonna have kids, right? Have to sit them down and explain to them they're the second best thing that ever happened to me. One time, when my friends and we were on acid, and we had this idea, we're like, you know, it would be hilarious if we put on our mother's bathing suits and went to this party. Now, you gotta remember, this is before I really filled out. I had a delicate, ladylike physique. So when my friends put on their mother's bathing suits, hilarious. Bulges and hair. I put on my mom's. I was sleek with camel toe. The energy in the room changed. That'll happen when 8 heterosexual dudes start to question everything. When you take acid, people are like, did you have any realizations? I'm like, yes. I realized my friends want to bang me. I told my American friend that story, and he made this like really judgmental look. He's like, Canadian teenagers are weird. I felt so defensive. I was like, I gotta make something up. I was just like, well, that's how we celebrate the 4th of July. Thank you guys very much. Thank you.